because now we're on the pitch panel, the best games yet to be made, yet to be played. And I have with me an excellent panel to give these talented game developers feedback. And from my left, Arvin, Ashrafi, welcome. Who are you?
Arvin, I work at MTG with corporate development topics. MTG works with esports and gaming, and natural for me, that's what I love doing on the free time as well, playing esports games.
All right, I love it. MTG corporate element topics?
Corporate development.
Corporate development.
So sort of M&A strategy, that kind of stuff. A bit boring, but all good when we tend to look at these great games.
Are you a suit?
I'm sometimes, but I like to dress down.
He dresses down very well.
Yeah, he's by far the best looking person I've had on this stage today. I mean, no offense, but yeah. Staffan,
yes.
Hello, welcome, good morning. Yeah,
that, I have my...
You have a different fashion statement.
Yeah. This is the ID software, the deathmatch T-shirt.
Excellent.
That I got from John Romero.
Oh, did you really?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yes, I'm Staffan. I work as the publishing director for Enad Global 7, so EG7 in short.
Yeah.
Previously worked at Paradox a long time as a producer for the publishing side.
Excellent. Wow, I'm still on John Romero.
Yeah.
I want to hear all the details, but maybe, over drinks later.
Yes.
Anderson, hey, welcome.
Hi, Per. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here and great to be part of this panel and see some of these great new games that are going to be pitched today. I'm Anderson. I work at Unity. I'm part of the Unity distribution portal, which helps mobile developers democratize their access to third-party app stores, basically.
All right.
So we're helping developers find new audiences, and it's using a totally free service designed at people who are working with Unity engine initially, but also there's other opportunities for Android native, etc. So mobile game is very much my focus and has been for the past 15 years, actually. So
wow.
A bit of an industry
Even
veteran. Not that you
before
can
the
tell
smartphone.
by my beard or anything.
Yeah, let's not talk about age indicators.
No, exactly.
Do you then have the answer to the topic we've been talking about this morning about the competition for visibility?
Well, look, I've got a few answers. Absolutely. That's the most important competition for a game maker today, is getting eyeballs on your game. And then obviously retaining that person, that eyeball, if you like, to make sure that you can have a commercial success with a game. So yeah, we've got a few options available for you. And yeah, at Unity, we want to help our creators to create more games and also to be able to monetize their creations as well. Therefore, the cycle keeps going.
Yeah, okay, that's great. We love the talking points. But enough about you. Now it's about them. And let's hear from the first pitcher, Hannes Hultgren, Impact Unified.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Hannes from Impact Unified, and I'm here to pitch you our team. So this is us. Impact Unified is founded by 3 brothers and 1 uncle. And we have a few superpowers that makes our team unique. We've been doing board games together for as long as we can remember almost. Recent years we went digital. We have some great software knowledge on the team. Oldest brother Simon. And we really love numbers. We love data analysis. So I got a PhD in physics, younger brother Jakob got a PhD in mathematics. This is something we're leveraging in the development. Our uncle is a film producer and director. So that's us. We did release some works before. We got some awards for those. Enough of bragging. So our most important game now that we're actually making money on is a cricket free-to-play, iOS, Android. This is a project which we took from the very first idea all the way to money in the bank, actually. So here's a short video. We did some motion capture for the animations in the game. Quite casual game. And it's just in the beginning of its life cycle. So right now we have great numbers, so the lifetime value over CPI is 3 or 4, so that's really great, at around 10 to 15,000 daily active users. And of course, this equation won't scale like this forever. We're very aware of that. We teamed up with the Danish company Groovy for doing the user acquisition. And we also published it in big markets in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. We're struggling a bit with the margin here, but we've done some changes to the game, and we see that the data tells us that we're on the right track also in these markets. Yeah, so everything we've done up till now has been on weekends and evenings. So, and now we, at least ourselves, we've proven that we can do this. We can build a profitable mobile game. So we want to do this over and over again now, of course. So we're looking for investors. And we hope that you would bring funding for 18 months at a burn rate of around 30K a month. And this includes then that we're switching to full-time game development. It includes hiring of a graphics designer, which is something that we clearly need. We would also prefer taking the user acquisition in-house. And your industry know-how, how to develop this business will be very important, and your network. If you bring this, we know that we will bring an outstanding team, which is very data-driven and able to pivot. So for sure, we will kill our darlings if the data tells us to do so. We have a pipeline of outstanding games here that are prototypes, and some are already in soft launch. And maybe most important of all, we bring a lot of grit to this venture. So yeah, thanks a lot for your time.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Hannes. Are you? Yeah, big hand.
Yeah, big hand.
Yeah. Are you a cricket fan?
My uncle is.
Oh.
Cricket is something that you have to grow up with. To know all the specific rules, you need to have it in your blood, basically.
And you're lucky to have an Australian sitting on the panel. So
Yeah, I'm going to go to you first. It's not anything to do with culture or anything. It's on the merits. But first, let me tell you how this works. We have a few minutes now. I'll give you the first minute, a couple of minutes to ask Hannes some questions, and then I will ask your opinion of his presentation and of the pitch, and maybe some advice that you want to give him. But first the question. So Anderson.
So yeah, my question is, your uncle is he Swedish? If he had the idea of the cricketing game?
I think he has like 3 or 4 passports.
Oh wow, okay.
So he's born in India and grew up in UK.
I see. Okay, so yeah, he has the passion to be able to explain and create the gameplay itself. Very nice job. I'm very impressed. Yeah, that's my first question. Maybe you guys have another more.
Yes. You didn't tell us much about the game itself. How? You told us more about the auxiliary areas. What is?
So the game, since we don't have resources to make a complete cricket game that simulates a full match, we focused on one very specific rule, which is the umpire's call. And this is something that creates a lot of controversies in games, because basically the referee has to decide what would have happened in a parallel universe if the batsman wasn't there. How would the ball bounce? What would the pitch be?
Yeah, that's right. The leg before wicket.
Exactly. So this is something I love as a physicist, and it's a great thing to focus, because we get a lot of traction online, people discussing, and it works very well.
So you focused on one part of the actual whole cricket game, and then the gameplay itself is purely a ball coming down, and then
physics prediction.
Physics prediction. You need to make a decision based on that. Okay.
So it's very. We had to, scope it down, obviously, to make it.
And you're mainly monetizing with. I saw IAP ads and
reward videos.
Rewarded video.
Yeah,
okay.
That's it. So.
Arvin.
Yeah, so how is that split of monetization now that you've also focused a bit more on India?
Yeah, it depends on the market. So in UK, Australia, which are biggest money-wise markets, it's around 28% in-apps purchases, and the rest is ads. In India, it's very little in-app purchases.
Do you do variable pricing? So, for example, you do, you employ that for Indian market?
The problem is that you can't lower the prices enough in some markets.
Sure, like India.
Yeah, exactly. We would want to lower the in-apps even lower. Yeah.
Okay.
What will you add to the game if you get this investment?
So we would do it more social, that you can compete against others. We would do like weekly, daily and weekly tournaments, try to bring the engagement up. Because the lifetime of the player, since it's such a small game, the lifetime is quite short. So we need to extend that.
Right. So enough questions. What's your opinion and maybe some recommendations for Hannes? Anyone?
Yeah, please.
Oh, yeah. The game itself is quite. It's not really what we're looking for, but it sounds like a cool idea. Pitch-wise, I would recommend you to focus more on also including the game in the presentation and not the auxiliary areas around the game, because I still don't really understand what the game is about, and that will of course makes it harder to decide if you want to invest or not.
Yeah.
Staffan, I'm going to argue with you a little bit, because he's not looking for a publishing deal, he's looking for equity investment.
Yeah.
So if he were to look for a publishing deal, I think that's exactly what he should be doing. But now that he's looking for equity investment, maybe that's more for you, Arvin.
I think really like the presentation. I think it was to the point. From a investment point of view, numbers is always key. So the more you can display, I think that's good. But this was a teaser, of course. You addressed that you want to have the users engage for a longer time. You want to avoid churn, and that's what you want to bring on an equity investor. Perhaps highlight how you would do that in the pitch as well. That would be interesting. To your point, if there are engagement touch points such as content or events.
All right, thanks. Anderson?
Yeah, I'm very interested in the game. I think the game looks fantastic. I'd love to play a trial version of it. With my role in Unity, with UDP, we work with the Indian operators who have their third-party app stores servicing India, Bangladesh, some of your main countries. So it could be an opportunity for you guys to self-publish in those markets, build an audience, tweak the game potentially, and then look for maybe a publishing deal for a larger store player like the Google Play Store or something like that in specific markets. I think also in terms of the presentation, to Staffan's point, I think you probably could put a bit more gloss around the actual gameplay itself. Like the video was not very impactful. It was a little bit on the side of the screen and it wasn't really center of attention, whereas that's the only bit of gameplay we got to see. So potentially you could extend that somehow. But yeah, otherwise, as a general tip, you're talking about equity investment to fill your pipeline of games that are coming up. Potentially, you could have another strategy where you invest heavily in the first game and then release Cricket Umpire 2. And then, convert all your, that's the expanded, more features, etc. in the gameplay. And then you just, shift your audience from number 1 to number 2 and hopefully keep building that way. That's a tip.
True. Yeah. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Anderson. Hannes, any comments or reactions?
Back to this division between how important is the actual games that the studio has now compared to the team. Because now I focused on the team, right? Like that we have a lot of grit and we can do amazing things. So maybe more for you looking.
Early stages, the team is key.
Yeah.
So to your point, you're ready to kill your darlings. Sure, that's a good thing to say. But I would say that that's also connected to a lot of risk. Saying that, okay, maybe tomorrow you will kill this game and go on to the next game. And then it's very important for us to understand, okay, what kind of next games do you have in the pipeline?
Yeah.
The presentation was short. It was 5 minutes, so we can have that in a deep dive. But the team is key, very key, especially in early stages.
All right, words of wisdom. Hannes, I see a bright future for Impact Unified. Thanks for coming on stage. Big hand.
Thanks, guys.
And 3-4 passport, life goals, right? I got to catch them all. Anton, I think it was great that he talked about also some of the other games that they have on their pipeline. I think that's the feedback we get sometimes.
Definitely, yeah. To have there's a future in the company like that.
Yeah, they're thinking broader than this particular game. And if you think that I've changed my attitude and I'm nicer and I speak with a softer voice, it's because I've been instructed to not be as mean as I usually am. So you can decide later if I succeeded. All right, next up, Finn Yates, Virtuverse. Big hand. Welcome.
Hey.
Stage is yours.
All right, so I'm Finn, and I'm the founder of Virtuverse. So what is Virtuverse? Virtuverse is a action-based, third-person, real cash economy MMORPG, which heavily incentivizes and rewards kind of community interaction and kind of involvement. It's real cash economy, so that means that there's kind of players can choose how much they want to pay to play the game, and it allows for free-to-play, subscription, and kind of whales to all exist in the same ecosystem. So players in the Virtuverse can kind of mine, craft, hunt in what we're calling a sandbox on Rails. So that means that we're developing the tools and the mechanics for players to be able to architect their own gameplay experience, while kind of still keeping them within our overarching storyline and lore of the game. So in terms of the RCE space itself, we've got kind of one main competitor, which is Entropy Universe. We're positioning Virtuverse at a much kind of lower cost to play and really looking to capture a wider audience. There's quite a lot of friction and barriers to entry in these kind of other RCE games, so looking to capture users and retain them, and kind of cast that wider net there. We've also really bought into the kind of early access development kind of mantra, and we've got a great relationship with our community that we've been kind of working and building the game alongside. At the moment in the kind of MMO industry, there's been a slight kind of shift of focus away from PC and kind of console markets. So there's quite a lot of users at the moment that are very hungry for new IP and new content, and especially in the sci-fi space. So we're looking to really kind of snap up those users and engage them with something that's really new and exciting. So over the last 2 years, we've been developing Virtuverse, and we've been bootstrapping the entire way. We've gotten kind of a community that's been growing organically now up to about 2,000-3,000 active users. And we're seeing really great traction with those, and the unit economics of those early adopters are kind of really strong and really great. We've also got some signals coming through that there's a lot of interest and a lot of potential that a large chunk of the main competitors' player base will be converting over to Virtuverse due to the kind of more optimal gameplay loops and lower cost to play. So over these last 2 years, we've run 4 big public tests. There's one running right now as we speak, so that's free to play, free to hop in and check it out and see if you like the look of what we've done so far. With a view that by the end of 2021, we're going to be launching into open beta, and that's with then the real cash economy enabled and integrated into the platform, and that's when we're going to start actively looking to monetize the game. Up until then, the game is completely free to try out and kind of give feedback on. So we're currently looking for investment or a kind of partner that kind of matches our overall vision for the game. And we're looking for $1.4 million, which is going to give us a 12-month run rate and allow us to scale up to 14 full-time heads on the team, and really kind of provide a multiplier on the depth and breadth of content that we'll be able to push out into that open beta release by the end of next year. So we're a fully remote-first team. We're spread out across 9 countries. We've got 12 heads on the team at the moment, which are split between part and full-time. And there's a whole range of backgrounds within that team, from kind of hobbyist game dev to kind of loads of different skill sets that have been kind of pulled in. Myself, I've been kind of involved in tech startups for the past 10 years and kind of leading quite large engineering teams. So I've got a lot of experience on the architecture side of things. And that's it. Any questions?
Wow, big hand. Thanks, Finn. All right, panelists, your move. Oh, so I'm doing that again. I'm being all confrontational. So questions first, opinions later. Anderson?
Great presentation, Finn. Well, looks really good. Very interesting game. My question for you, though, is it seems like quite a long time until you're going to get into the open beta. Any reason for that?
That timeline, we're currently working on the current kind of part-time and full-time team basis. So that's how long we believe it to take us to get that point. There's quite a lot of regulatory hoops in terms of an RC that we're going to have to jump through next year. And a lot of that timeline is making sure that all those kind of, those forms have been signed and everything's kind of legal and ready to go.
Sure, okay. No worries.
All right. Arvin?
I think you mentioned some validation. It would be really interesting to hear more about that. Could you share anything else besides you have some input that some might change game?
So we've got some kind of unit economics and kind of market validation stats that we can share. So we're seeing another part of what we're looking to do with Virtuverse is extend out. So we've got the B2C component, which is the game, but we're also implementing a developer API for people to build on top of the platform. So we've got a partner who's going to be coming on board next year, who's going to be doing rewarded video to get the in-game currency, and they're going to work on their own user acquisition, and they'll make kind of revenue from that, but then they'll also be bulk buying kind of currency within the game at the same time. So we've got other kind of avenue channels that we've already got people signed and kind of ready to go. We've also got a programmatic ad partner for in-game ads within the kind of 3D world, which is
in-context ads.
Yeah, in context. Yep. So we've got kind of billboards and screens up, which we're trialing out on this kind of early access test. But the numbers are looking awesome on that. The ad revenue looks like it's going to be exceeding our infrastructure costs on a per active user per month basis. And as I say, while the early adopter metrics are a little kind of taken with a pinch of salt because they are our most engaged users, even taking very pessimistic views of those and kind of taking 10-20% of those values as what we would see upon release, they still look good and still kind of support a break-even point at quite a low active monthly user base.
Staffan?
Yes. So you need 12 months to reach open beta. When will the game be fully released?
I would have thought we haven't got an exact timeline on full release. We're looking kind of as we get into the swing of things next year and post that to go into kind of like a 3-month kind of content update cadence. So after that, we'll be looking at expanding the storyline every 3 months. So everything will always be changing. We'll be adding new stuff. So at some point, when we feel like the game is fully released, it will be kind of done, but it will always have content added to it as long as there's players.
Will you still keep that 3-month cycle then after the full release then?
Yeah, we'll still continue to add, and because we don't want to move towards more of a large expansion pack, kind of doing a couple of years of development and then one big hit. We'd rather keep people continuously engaged because that's what more synergizes well with a real cash economy. Keeping players engaged all the time and keeping them cycling and playing the game actively is what really kind of keeps the game and keeps the economy flowing.
A quick question. Recently I've seen a lot of these type of games having some Bitcoin element into the whole mix. Is that something that you've explored, or?
We've had to think about crypto, and it's not something that we really want to go kind of anywhere near for the very foreseeable future. We may look at accepting kind of crypto and converting it to kind of real cash instantly, kind of on deposit, but holding it and kind of allowing withdrawals in it is a regulatory nightmare.
Gotcha.
All right. Opinions, recommendations. Arvin.
This is not my sort of key type of game. It seems like you have really good sort of done the homework when it comes to these type of games. I like the presentation. So for me, I have no sort of direct input there. I think it was good.
Yes, I would be interesting to know more about this in a deep dive later down the line. So because it sounds interesting, I just need to understand more about the game and what makes it stick out from the rest.
Yeah.
And my comment would be, you mentioned about user-generated content.
Yeah.
So if you are able to scale to the size that you're hoping for, one of the staff roles that was missing was probably some kind of content moderator.
Yeah, we actually got plans because we do have kind of screens that players are going to be able to upload images into, but actually promoting the community to become their own moderators and rewarding them with the same kind of mechanics and in-game currency. So kind of the same way that kind of like Google Capture works with kind of, it's got multiple points of verification. You can apply the same approach to the community, and once something's been flagged too many times as inappropriate, it can immediately be taken down.
Sure.
He's thought about everything.
He's good.
He's got an answer to
He's
every
polished.
question. Wow.
He's going to get investment.
All right, we'll take your word for it. Finn, thanks so much for coming on stage this morning. And I see a brilliant future for you. Yeah.
Awesome,
Good
thank
luck.
you.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thanks for the feedback.
Good luck. Cheers.
Cheers.
Big hand. Did you see what he did there? He had like extra slides after his slides.
That was impressive.
Yes.
That's a superstar move.
a good move.
Extra slides after the slides. I've never
If they
seen
ask
that.
this question,
Yeah, and then he already
Yeah,
had
it's
it. Yeah.
perfect.
I love it. All right. Cool. This is fun. Right. Next up, Joakim Hedström, Frame Break. Welcome on stage.
All right.
Varsågod.
So I'm Joachim from Framebreak, and I would like to introduce you to Farming. It's a farming game with FPS mechanics, where you're put in control of a mech equipped with a variety of tools for building and growing your farm on an alien planet. But before delving deeper, I'd like to tell you about us at Framebreak. We're a three-person team here from Skövde. We met each other by studying game development here in town and then entered the game incubator. And we have found a shared passion for making games that break the mold. After working on 2 games previously, we found our strengths, applied lessons learned, and set out to form a new game concept. This time with our signature novelty, mainstream appeal, and this time scalability that lets the game grow alongside us. With these criteria set, we looked at the widely popular farming genre. We examined virtually every game in the genre, from the industry giants to the commercial failures, and gained some valuable insight. The real act of farming is not very fun, actually, and so farming games employ some form of abstraction to avoid this. The most common is the top-down grid view, where planting a seed is as easy as clicking a square. However, a few games do go the opposite way and embrace realism. These close-up experiences where you drive farm equipment over massive fields. However, not much has been done in terms of trying to bring these 2 paradigms together, and that's where Farming comes in. In Farming, you're put in the tractor mech, equipped with these impactful tools that will simplify the job for you in a mechanically satisfying way, inspired by FPS mechanics. So, for example, you have the seed gun. Instead of shooting at enemies to kill, you'll be shooting at mounds to plant your seeds. Cool. The gameplay loop is quite simple, of course. You plant your crops, they grow, you sell that, and you can then, with that money, upgrade your mech, unlocking new abilities, allowing you to explore the planet further and find new plants to bring home and start growing. But it's not as easy as it sounds. Of course, the different plants have various needs that must be fulfilled for a bountiful yield, and hazards can befall your crops, such as vermin or diseases. The aesthetics are inspired by a mashup of country romance and these alien landscapes, mixing the familiar with the fantastical, and allowing the player to create these otherworldly farmscapes set against nostalgic sunset. We aim to release Farming on early access. Now, this model is not without risks, but having looked at both the successful and not so successful examples, we think there are some key lessons we can bring forward and ensure the risks are minimized. These key lessons are as follows: not too early access, consistent, sizable updates, and a full release within 2 years. To make this happen, we've outlined the following schedule. We have recently developed our alpha, which we will continue to polish and improve and create an expanded version to release on early access in 6 months. After which we will continue with major updates every 4 months. And we aim to maintain that pace for 2 years, culminating in a total of 30 months. And to put the schedule on track, we need €240,000 to cover the entire 30 months. That would allow the 3 of us to switch from part-time work to full-time work for the entire duration. Having looked at the genre, we found players of farming early access games to be a particularly lucrative audience, often willing to take chances on new titles. Looking at Steam, 4% of all titles roughly earn over €200,000. However, 37% of titles with the agriculture tag earn over 200,000. And in fact, 19% of those earn over 500,000. So this is a genre with a potential massive returns. And we think you should strike while the iron is hot. And that is all I had prepared.
Big hand. Good job. Good job. Farmek from Frame Break. It's like a real tongue twister. Thanks for nothing. Panel, questions, opinions later.
Yeah, great presentation, Joachim. Really cool. What are you building the game in?
Unreal, unfortunately.
Next question.
50-50.
I'm kidding.
If you got the budget to increase the team, would you do that, and how?
Oh, absolutely. We have different ideas in mind for how much we could get and what we'd do. Our first step would be, for example, with 400,000, we could hire 2 more people, a programmer and a graphics artist, and that would allow us to improve game development, especially hit some core features earlier, which we would really like to do.
And the focus is on PC Premium?
Yeah, there's that. But consoles definitely is something we'd want to do down the line.
Do you have any marketing plans yourselves, or would you expect?
No, we would need a publisher to help us with that.
Is there any reported interest in the game? Have you released anything so far?
So far we've only made the alpha available on our Discord, which is quite small at the moment, and we're still kind of grow that grassroots interest. Our hope is to keep building on this, showing up in places like this, and hopefully making more people aware of the game.
I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but will you also have modding support in your plans?
That's not in the plans now.
Because it feels like a moddable game, actually, which also increases the longevity of the game.
We can look into it.
It's set on Mars, yeah?
Or
a planet. Any alien, okay.
Planet X.
Do you think a mech is cooler than a normal tractor?
Yes.
I think so too.
Me too. Yeah.
Is that even a question?
Yeah, we have some more minutes.
Is there anything else from the team you would like to highlight?
I mean, I'm very proud of what we're able to achieve with just the 3 of us. We've really spread our talents pretty wide from where we started. We started out studying here. 2 of us studied game writing, 1 of us studied audio, and now we have kind of expanded to cover the coding of the game, covering the game design, covering graphics, 3D, all kinds of things. But of course, we'd love to expand the team so we can maybe hone in more on one area of expertise.
You mentioned some previous failures. Sort of what kind of games?
Failures is a strong word. Yeah, we started. Our first game was a mobile game, actually, an arcade game that made not so much money. So fine, failure. But we learned a lot from that, and especially working together and finding our strengths and also broadening our skill set. Our second game was where we switched from mobile to PC and started working with Unreal instead. And that is where we kind of got our first taste of the mech thing, because we made a... what's the pitch again? A multiplayer parkour platform arena sport with robots.
That was also a pun, right?
It was something, acrobatics.
Acrobatics.
Yeah.
This guy and his puns.
And yeah, we won the pitch competition last year with that one. And then we realized this game is way too big for the 3 of us to do. And so we set our sights on how do we apply this knowledge into something that can actually grow.
And it became agrobotics.
And what kind of learnings could you transfer from that game to this one?
Well, first of all, just getting comfortable with Unreal, but also the animation and stuff. We started tinkering a little bit with like procedural animation instead of handcrafting it ourselves, because that's a lot of time we don't have. And so, making our mech walk cycle procedural, and that makes it very nice because you walk up these hills and it lines up fairly well. Of course, also a lot of interesting things we can do with that. And so just also learning 3D modeling. So we start with these robots and then expand on the mech and so on and so forth.
All right.
Is there an end goal in the game?
Yes. So the setting is that you are a convict who has been sentenced to a kind of community service to start a farm on this planet. I would say it's a pretty nice deal, yeah. Planned for yourself. And so you have a quite literal debt to society you want to pay back with the money you earn. And once you manage to pay that back, you get a ticket back to Earth. Of course,
Nice.
knowing the players, they probably want to stay anyway, but so we'll give you that option. And on the way there, we'll craft what I want to think of as an emotional journey where the player and the AI living in their mech form a bond and find out they're not so different after all.
So the planet is basically the prison cell.
Yeah,
I think
big
crime in the future is rewarded rather than punished. All right, opinions, recommendations.
Just a quick one. Just what the video that it's obviously very early in your development phase, but you spoke very passionately about the sort of first-person shooter mechanic of planting the seeds, but the animation itself wasn't as impactful as the way you spoke about it. So I think that could be something that you should invest some time into, really creating some beautiful animations on the different seed types, and really expressing that FPS vibe.
You mean the passion about the planting gun that shoots seeds?
Well, I heard a story last night about the midsummer stong, which was a bit disturbing. But
there's so much Freudian slip here. Let's just stay clear of that. Yeah, Staffan.
You derailed me now.
What's your recommendation?
Sounds really like you have a really good game going on. I think you should aim at scaling up the team in your pitch. So even if you are 3 now, when you actually ask for the funding, you should include like the additional core people you want, so you get that automatically without questions asked. Because the current budget is very low. So
it is low.
So if you increase that to 400. There will be no question marks for where that funding goes if you just have your additional 2 people including that.
Okay.
All right, Arvin.
I think the game looks gorgeous, so great that you're highlighting that. From a funding point of view, I would highlight the team a bit more, your previous experiences, what you have learned from not the failures, but previous games. I think that would be key. And also, depending on who you're pitching this to, you want to understand sort of the potential of this game or games within this type of genre. I think that's also necessary.
All right. And by the way, it's not failure, it's ahead of your time. Any comments?
Well, I appreciate the feedback, and I'll definitely take it to heart and improve this pitch even more. Thank you.
All right. Farmek from Frame Break. Big hand.